Hi all. So we are back to an important topic, public investment in cybersecurity startup. And to begin the discussion, I would like to welcome our speakers, Mr. Prakash Bhaskaran, CEO and founder, Securely Share. Welcome, sir. Mr.
Thank you.
Manish Chaudhary, scientist, Technology Development Board. Welcome, Mr. Manish. Over to the speakers now.
So maybe I can get started. I don't have a presentation,
Sure.
but maybe I can talk about how we are getting the public fund. This is actually the second time we are receiving funds from Technology Development Board. In my previous startup also, we availed the assistance from Technology Development Board. So we all day today we talked about the investments from the typical VC funds into the cybersecurity companies. But then there are companies like us which are innovation focused, requires a lot of R&D efforts before we bring our products to market. In such situation, it's really nice to have a grant or patient capital available to finish your R&D and then bring the product to the market. So in the last startup, we actually got into fundamental R&D around encryption, key management, etc. Basically with the premise that even though encryption is very easy to use, not a lot of people use it on a daily basis, use it in the every circumstances because it requires a lot of technical resources, technical knowledge, and we took on the objective of how do we bring down the barrier so that file encryption specifically can be used on everyday's life. So it took us a good 2 to 3 years of R&D. We filed for 6 patents, and eventually the last company, Power Software, become an acquisition for Cisco. And there, we got the funding from Technology Development Board, which, like I said, was a patient capital, allowed us to continue the R&D and then bring the product to the market. Eventually, we had about 150 customers, 30 employees, 6 granted patents. Then we become an acquisition for Cisco. Now, in the current situation, I'm running Securely Share, which is about 2.5 years old. And we are focused on data security, data privacy, and data governance. And our thesis is that as more and more organizations generate and collect information, it is not enough just to have security around data, but the data should be embedded with the policies and the consent that surrounds the data. Otherwise, it's very easy to lose track of where the data originated from, what was the purpose, when it should expire, etc. So in Securely Share, we are creating a platform called DSG Vault. And the purpose of the DSG Vault is to embed security, concern, policy, access control, all in the same context, so that without changing the workflows and the process, the organization should be able to continue their business, but then reduce their risk when it comes to compliance and data privacy. So with that objective, we have carried on R&D for the last 2.5 years. We went live in January of this year with a few banks, and we have a thick pipeline and tremendous use cases. Again, we required patient capital. Technology Development Board came forward and funded us this time as well. So let me kind of give the good side and the bad side of public funding and what we have experienced so far. The good side is that there is no dilution to equity. There is no board seat that we have given to Technology Development Board. There is no operational intervention. Very free to operate in terms of our R&D and product development. There is no pressure to go to market very quickly. And most importantly, most importantly, the funding comes with a very low interest rate of 5% and gives you a tremendous moratorium period, 3 to 5 years, depending upon the situation, until which time you don't need to, really pay back any money. So even though it is a debt, it provides the flexibility for technology startups to do their R&D, do their innovation, and bring out proper product to the market. On the negative side or the bad side is, you do need collateral. The Technology Development Board, as much as they, look at the merits of the project, you do need to provide collateral. Luckily for us, this time, we were able to give our patents as collateral, TDB was willing to accept them as a collateral as opposed to a physical asset. The second bad part, I would say, is you don't get the money all at once. It comes in multiple tranches, and before the money is released, every time you need to go through a project evaluation committee, and both on the accounting side, auditing side, as well as on the technology side. Even though it brings in a level of discipline into how we operate as a company, it does bring in delays to put for TDB to put the project evaluation committee and then approve the funding release part of it. So that part of it is definitely is a little bit of a time consuming, and that kind of becomes unpredictable from the cash flow and operational perspective. And finally, one of the other things that VC money that brings into the picture is the connects, customer connects and partner connects. In the public funding scenario, you cannot expect that part of it. But things are getting better because I've done it twice. I can tell the comparison between last time around and this time around. Last time it took 18 months to get the project approved by TDB, but this time it was 6 months. Pretty close to what VC decision would be like. And the other thing is, even though it's a government organization with the current situation, for example, instead of waiting for the physical meeting in Bangalore, TDB said, we will go with a virtual project evaluation meeting to speed up things. So that makes it easier as well. So maybe I can stop here and then see if Manish has anything to add to what I have talked about from the personal experience.
Hi, Manish. Can you please join the session and start your talk? I think he might be facing some issue right now, Mr. Prakash. I would, for the meanwhile, may I request the delegates if they can raise hand and ask few questions, and probably Mr. Prakash can take those.
I see Dr. Garg has joined as well.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Sorry for being late.
Welcome, Dr. Garg. So we have started. Hello, attendees. So we have been joined by Dr. A.K. Garg, scientist, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and I request Dr. Garg to kindly present your talk. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, DSCI. Thank you for organizing this conference and organizing it so seamlessly during the, such difficult times and using technology. So it's very obvious that technology is going to make a difference in the future, and technology which will make the difference in the future will be the digital technologies. A lot of speakers have also highlighted earlier that India happens to be the services hub, and the product space has been relatively less occupied by the Indians, and only 1 to 2% of the total IT market is actually taken by this product space. And of that, cybersecurity solutions even find a lesser space. The challenge for tomorrow or the post-COVID era or for the industry in general is that how do you actually handle the changing scenario in which the industry will be. And my take on the subject is that the products will find a lot more traction in the post-COVID. The- So the products that will find such tractions will be low cost, high value solutions. Small cybersecurity solutions will be the future, and here the Indian talent and the Indian industry has a key role to play. And so for this, we have already come up with a national policy on software products in February 2019 with a mandate to make.
Dr. Garg, sorry to interrupt you at this point of time. Your sound is a little lower. Can you please,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, now it's fine.
little better. Yeah.
Yeah. So we came up with the national policy on software products in February 2019, where we actually have a whole lot of strategies to do a 10x growth for the total software product industry, which including the international companies, happens to be around 7.5 to $8 billion. So we want to make it $80 billion by 2025. And we have a whole set of strategies for which we have started to put in policies and schemes in place. And we very soon you will be seeing post-COVID in a month or two, a lot of initiatives being taken by the government of India to push software products. One of the key points is that in the software product industry, the investment comes with numbers, the number of users. Most of the countries, what strategies the governments or the industry has taken is that the government happens to be the first user. In the cybersecurity era, governments are the first primary users of cybersecurity solutions. And if we actually want to replicate examples from Israel and elsewhere, then we see that the solutions which actually were very relevant in the strategic sectors became entrepreneurial ventures in future. So we have to look at it that how do we blend the government and the industry together. We need to look at that how do we actually let the investments flow into product industry or into the tech space or the deep tech space. We have a whole bunch of incubators around in the country, which happens to be 400 plus incubators. But what I have seen in the last 1 or 2 years, there is a challenge between the solutions that come out of such incubators or which are with startups and where where the investors want to spend or invest in. So the lot of investment is not flowing into very good solutions that are available for the startup. What we need to do is start a series of accelerators, and the one which DSCI is running, so that the gap between good solutions and the investors shrinks. We need to see to it that how does Indian money or Indian investment flows into the product industry, which is not there. We need to give confidence to the investor world in India that products are future.
Sorry to cut you here. Can you please speak a little louder? We are not able to hear you fine.
Yeah, we need to look at that how does product industry actually get Indian investment flowing into it, and the Indian services industry actually gets confidence in the product industry and starts investing more into this. These are some of the things we have. The DSCI Center of Excellence, we have 16 other Center of Excellences around in the country on deep tech. We have Mighty has supported more than 100 incubators and is in the process of supporting a series of accelerators. We are proposing to come up with a software product development fund of 5,000 crores in future. We are working on that, where we want to see that Indian investment flows into the Indian deep tech ecosystem. There are a lot of things. The Indian talent, the Future Skills program of NASCOM, in which DSCI very actively participates, is one such example where the talent is being nurtured or is being upscaled to actually face the challenges with the product industry and the cybersecurity product industry. So these are some of the key challenges which are there with the cybersecurity or the product industry.